Hi and welcome to part 3 of this Halloween tutorial of a black cat sat in a pumpkin with a spooky moonlit sky. So in this part of the tutorial, we are starting to work on the pumpkin, and as you can see at the moment, I'm just getting in the table underneath. Now, I wanted this table to look a bit mysterious, a bit strange. I didn't really want it to look like anything in particular, because it's that sort of magical feel. Now I'm just going in with the base layers of the pumpkin. So I'm using the Unison soft pastels just to get those base colors in, just to give it that vibrance and intensity underneath to then go in over the top with the pencils. With this one, I used a lot of the Conte pencils, which I don't normally use actually for pet portraits, but they came in really handy here. One, because they're that lovely big pencils, they'll cover a lot of ground, but they were the exact right colors as well. So what I'm doing with the pumpkin, I'm trying to get in the idea of detail. I didn't want to go too detailed with this because it would have taken weeks to get this done. Whereas this real time part of the tutorial is about 4 hours. So the pumpkin took about 4 hours to do. And I didn't really want to go too crazy on it, but I wanted it to still look quite realistic, but also have that sort of that magical feel to it. So the other thing we're doing in this part of the tutorial is going in with the cat on top. So we couldn't put in the cat on top of the pumpkin before because, as you can see, there's lots of lovely hairs which needed to overlap over the top of the pumpkin. So in this tutorial, it does show you the way in which I do things, the order in which I do things, so that you can make things look a bit more realistic in the way that you put them down on the paper. So at this part, I was just going over the pumpkin a little bit more, showing how you could make slightly more realistic sort of blisters on the pumpkin skin, and then just going in with that base layer of that side of the cat. And then I will have to do the sky on the right hand side as well to be able to layer the cat over the top of that too. So there's all sorts of elements going on here and lots of things to think about. So I'm just putting in some details on the cat using some blacks and some browns, and then back in with the pumpkin again. So there are some gorgeous colors on this. It's not just pure orange. There's some reds, there's some browns, there's some purples. And pumpkins, I talk about this in the tutorial. They are dirty things. Especially if you go and get them from a pumpkin field, from a pumpkin patch. So I didn't want it to look clean and perfect. It needed to look like an actual real pumpkin, which is why there's quite a lot of brown in there, just to give that earthy sort of look. And I experimented a bit on this with the soft pastels, with the pencils, with the pan pastels. Not so much with the pan pastels actually, but mostly with the soft pastels and the pencils, just to show different ways that you could get those colors in and those base layers in, and that you could layer on top as well. So with the pumpkin, I mostly went from dark to light, getting in those lovely sort of dark colors underneath and then making the popping sort of vibrant colors on top. But obviously in the bits where it's glowing, where the light is coming out of the pumpkin, I wanted that really bright yellow. So you don't want to be going in with anything too dark underneath that because you really want that to show. And you could go in with some whites as well, just to really make it pop. I'm just going back in with the table underneath. So I'm putting that lovely sort of glow on top of it. And then just doing these sort of final details. So I'm getting the sky back in on the right hand side, and then I can do everything to overlap over the top of that. And then that will be the end of the picture. So this was really fun to do. I hope you might want to join me over on my Patreon channel for the 4-hour real time tutorial, where I will talk you through every single step of what I've done here. And it's been really fun to do. It's a lovely sort of different thing to have on the easel. So I really hope you enjoy it. And I hope to see you over on Patreon. I hope you got some value from this as well. Please do hit subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Just quickly showing you the finished drawing there. Hope you enjoyed this. Thanks, guys. Bye.